John 5:45. Nolite putare quia ego accusaturus sim vos apud patrem, est qui accusat vos, Moses in quo vos speratis. Don't think that I will accuse you in front of or before the Father. There is one who accuses you, Moses, in whom you hope or place your hope. Here, as Jesus is winding up his discourse, he points out the implications of the preceding things that he said about his authority, about where his interlocutors are placing their hope. And he does so with a couple of interesting constructions here. So first we want to notice nolite putare. Remember, we've talked about before nolite or noli, if you're talking in the second person singular, just issuing a command to one person, means don't. Or this is the best way to translate it in English, with a complementary infinitive. Don't do X, whatever is in the infinitive mood here. Don't suppose, don't think that I am going to accuse you. And here we've got something called the future paraphrastic, and that consists of a future participle, accusaturus, plus a form of sum esse. This is one way of indicating future action. And here it's further complicated by the fact that we've got, in fact, the subjunctive as well. Now, the main question we want to answer here is why subjunctive? The reason seems to be that Jesus has in mind something his interlocutors may think. So this is sort of the hypothetical content of their minds, not his own, that he is imagining, as it were. And so that seems to be the basis for the usage of the subjunctive mood here. Remember, the subjunctive mood, generally you can think of it as being most useful and most common where there's a certain aspect of unreality or idealization going on, something not quite concrete, hard, and tangible, as we find with the indicative, but something sort of a little bit more ethereal and not fully realized. So here, don't suppose that I will accuse you. Here, I've almost deleted vos here, but here it is behind all my writing. You all, apud patrem, before the face of the Father, we might say. Could also have said coram patrem, I suppose, if he had wanted, in the presence of the Father. And here we've got to interpolate some punctuation as often. We can maybe put a colon here as well for English conventions. There is one who, we would say for est qui. There is one who accuses or charges you. Notice here again the subjunctive. Here the subjunctive is present for a different reason. This is what we would call a relative clause of characteristic, and you see it very often with this kind of construction. There is a sort of person who, or there are people who are of the type that they would do this or that. So that's when we use a relative clause to indicate a general type of person or a person who's fulfilling kind of a certain function, a certain role, whether or not that person is going to be named later. In this case, he is named. But a bit of suspense is created here by the way Jesus is expressing himself. We don't know initially who this is. There is one who accuses, present tense, subjunctive, you. And part of the reason for the suspense here is no doubt that this person's name is going to be particularly shocking to those to whom Jesus is delivering this message. Moses, the very person in whom you hope or put your hope, he's the one who's going to accuse you. This would have been really shocking to the people hearing this message because they're putting their hope in Moses. They're assuming that they are fulfilling the law appropriately and that they will receive their commendation, from Moses. And here Jesus is saying, actually, you will be condemned by Moses in an eschatological sense because you have not believed in me. But I won't be the one who accuses you. He will be the one who accuses you.